to talking. Yay! I'm very excited to be here, and thank goodness for Aisha because she reins me in. Because as y'all know, I go a little crazy sometimes, and Aisha's been busy too.
Okay.
Yay! So today's our
Yes,
solstice edition.
very
And
exciting.
yeah, I'm very excited, and it's really a solstice light. Because there's so much that we could do, but I want to hit on the things that are really, to me, most important if you're not familiar with any kind of pagan ritual, which is, this can be Wiccan, which is what witches, they call themselves witches. It can be Druid. There's a number of different kinds of pagan religions around the world. Pagan just means of the earth, by the way, if you don't know that. I know that a lot of times it's misconstrued as being devil worship and things like that, but it's not. It's pagan literally means of the earth. So how we're going to start today is I'm going to go through, first of all, I'm going to talk about casting a circle, which is, if for a lot of us, you'll know this as creating a sacred space or a safe space. Only it's called casting a circle when we get together for ritual. We're not necessarily going to cast a circle because we're all in our own places, but we are going to walk through the directions and the importance of what they bring to us. Then there's a Druid prayer, which I love personally, and it really grounds me into these rituals. I shared that on the page already. And what we're going to do is, once we've created circle or we've gone through the directions, and again, you're just going to be part of this. You're not going to be expected to memorize or do. And if we were doing ritual, we actually would have, if there's 4 people, each person would get a different direction. So you could say, well, what are you feeling today? Oh, I'm feeling emotional connection. So you would then be, the West and water and emotion. So so that's what it would be like if we were all together. The other important part is we're going to do a little teeny tiny meditation, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes, where we're going to walk ourselves through the process of writing down what it is we want to release, if you haven't already done that. And on a second page, writing down what it is, the seeds that we want to sow, because basically this is all about connecting with our ancestors, being grateful for what we have, and for the earth being plentiful and abundant. That's it in a nutshell. So any questions with that, Aisha?
No, it sounds really good. I'm super, super excited about that. So yeah, let's do it.
And there's also one other thing. If you have an ancestor that you feel called to you, then you can do this on their behalf. So the other thing is too, not to get too far into it, with your different deities, mine is Isis, which is, I was called to Isis when I was a little girl, like 5 years old. I can't even tell you how young. So, but we're not going to get into the history of that. But there's also Bridget is a Celtic goddess. There's Kali May, which is a Hindu. Like, there's all different kinds of gods and goddesses. And if you feel drawn to one, this is also something that is interesting to look into. So what we're going to start with is, first of all, we're going to call in the quarters, which is called casting a circle. We're not really casting a circle, but I really would like you guys to be able to go along with this. And that is, do you know the north, south, east, west from where your house is? Okay. Or where you are in your house, because we're always going to start what's called sunwise, which means we're going to start with the east and we're going to come around to the north, and that's going to create our sacred space. So so let's start by doing that. Now, what you would do, or you don't have to do, you can just watch, you don't have to do anything. But what we want to do is we want to start with the east, and I've made this as brief as possible. So we're going to take our hand and we're going to put our hand up towards the sky, and we are calling in the east. So I call to the direction of east and the element of air. Please provide us vision, wisdom, and to help with the power of our minds. So then we're going sunwise. So we're going to the south, which is the element of fire. And this brings in creativity, inspiration, and growth. So this is the active part. Next, we move to the west. We call to the west and the element of water. This helps us with compassion, love, and intuition, our connection to each other and our connection to the earth. And then we're going to move to the north. And the north is the element of earth, which is all abundance, patience, and stability. So this is what's called calling in the quarters, or calling in the directions. You could hear it that way as well. So as you see, there's a connection between the elements and tarot and oracle or anything else, because they're all intertwined, because they all come from honoring the earth. So I'll recite this prayer. I did post this, so you can read along in your mind, or if you want to read aloud at home, wherever you are. Grant, O Spirit. And the other thing I want to talk about is that there's a certain cadence to this. So it's almost musical, because when we use our words are music themselves, right? Because it's all sound, right? So grant, O Spirit, thy protection, and in protection, strength, and in strength, understanding, and in understanding, knowledge, and in knowledge, the knowledge of justice, and in the knowledge of justice, the love of it, and in the love of it, the love of all existences, and in the love of all existences, the love of all spirit and all goodness. And this is called the Obod prayer, which is OBOD, the Druid way, if you want to learn more about that. So thank you for casting this circle. Anything that is said here and done here is done it's a sacred space now. So this is a safe space, and what happens in the circle on the internet stays in the circle. So just to talk about what the winter solstice is, the winter solstice is the shortest day. This is also for me personally, this helps ground me into the fact that winter is really a time of it's really a time of reflection. It's a time to go within, see where we've been doing well, and to reflect, right? Because a lot of times we're so busy that we don't take the time to reflect. And I've also found this, because this is the shortest day. So even though we are coming up to some colder times coming up, the days are getting longer. So there is more light outside, right? So by doing this, it actually brings a conscious awareness that time is getting, the days are actually getting longer. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to do a little mini meditation. And this is going to help us get in touch with whatever it is that we want to release, and connect with anything that may be the seeds. Maybe you've already written this down, that's okay. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to just take a nice deep breath and close your eyes, plant your feet on the floor. Oh, so now in your mind's eye, I want you to see an open field, and it's covered in snow. The kind of snow, it's just a little crisp. You can feel it crunching beneath your feet. And we're walking, we see that there's a forest. We come to the edge of the forest and we see there's still a path between the trees, places where people have walked. So we're going to follow this path, the crunching of the snow beneath us, the freshness of the air coming into our lungs, the night light, the light of the night sky. And we come upon a little log cabin. We go up to the door. When we go in the door, we can feel the warmth of the fire already. There's a big comfy chair right in front of the fire. So we shake ourselves off, we go over, we sit down. And as we look into the fire, the hypnotic flames allowing us to relax. This is our time of reflection. And into your mind pops that thing that you're ready to release. Whether it's a material goal, whether it's you want to release being too harsh on yourself, whatever it may be, let's take a moment and connect. Sometimes you'll feel a nice lightening in your heart because you just know that it's time for this. It's served you well. It's done what it's needed to do. And now it's time for it to be on its way. And we can almost see the fire burning it up. And now with this lightness in our heart and in our body, we can now turn to what it is we wish to focus on. Can it be something more loving towards ourselves, more compassion? It could be a practical goal. It could be as simple as developing patience through these trying times. So let's take a breath and see what comes to you for the next year. Does that feel light? Now we're not going to stay here long. We have what's in our heart. We get up and we're going to walk back to the door and out into the woods, feeling lighter, happier. Okay, now let's open our eyes. So, did you find something? Did something come to you?
Yeah, I definitely got a few things that I definitely want to release in the new year. So I did that. I felt really, I felt this real sense of calm in that place.
Mm-hmm.
But that was really nice. Yeah. Yeah. It was good.
Shivers. And you know, the thing that's really interesting is that, you know, when we actually focus on the appreciation of winter, it is cold, you know, it is, but there's so much beauty in a starlit night or a full moon out, you know, glowing off the snow. And sometimes we forget about that when we get all stuck up in the rush, right? So, so these 2 pages, I was going to do some burning tonight because that's the part that I love the best, but practicality, I don't know what you have in your house, but if you do have a fireplace, if you do have somewhere where you can do it safely, then I would advise that you burn it in the fire. So literally have the intention, fold it up, concentrate on compassionately releasing it, right? So, you know, just thank it for being in your life, right? Because whatever's come before, just like our ancestors, right? Whatever's come before, everybody does the best they can where they are with what they have. So you want to take this time to write that down, or if you had something written down before, maybe this allowed you to flesh it out a little bit more. Maybe this allowed you to get a little bit more of an emotional connection to it. But the one thing that I love, exactly as you said, Aisha, is the fact that it's like you can actually feel a lightening. And I hope you just felt a lightening just from that little bit of like, right? Because when we hang on to stuff, it takes up space.
Mm.
So the other thing is, if you can burn this outside in some snow, we've got this Jupiter and Saturn coming out tomorrow. So if you could actually go out and burn it outside somewhere, like in snow, because basically what we would do in ritual is we would burn this and put the ashes together with the seeds for tomorrow. And we would bury them, or we would put them out. That's part of ritual that we're not going to do now either as well. But I hope as well that you were connected to the forest, that the forest gave you comfort, right? So that's, and again, these are the best things that I like about solstice and why it's important to me.
I feel like what happened for me was that I grew up in Calgary, and you know, it's very cold in Calgary, but it's very clear. Like when I was a kid, the air was so clear. Like, so when I was thinking about being in a field, like a field where the snow is on the ground and no one else has come before, like I could literally picture, you know, like a space in front of my old house, and the sky is pitch black, but there's moonlight shining down. The snow is like kind of a blue color as the moon is shining down, and I'm walking through it and I can hear that sound, and I can almost feel the texture of it. It's kind of powdery under the crispness of it as you're walking through it, right? And then you're walking towards the forest, and I can picture the trees. So it really, for me, there was a very instant connection and to parts of my childhood and things I remembered. So that was really powerful for me. So thank you for that.
No, thank you. That's, I mean,
Yeah.
I think, and the greatest thing about when anybody else leads us in meditation, no matter how long or short it is that we're not thinking about what we need to do and what we need to say. You're just listening and you're just being led. And that's, to me, one of the most beautiful parts of this kind of ritual is to, like, normally we would do a longer meditation, and we would, you know, sometimes you have ancestors show up, you have people that come that you don't even know who they are. And, but as you go along and you connect with the earth and you connect with the beauty of all four seasons, like, and that's the one thing I love best about practicing this kind of stuff, like, and being, you know, representing myself as a druid, that religion is not about any kind of religious, it's not as much about what it does, what it provides you. It's more about who you become when you're practicing those rituals, whatever they are, right? And I mean, I think that that's something that's really important. Like in these meditations, there has to be the forest, because without the forest, there's no like druids are, you know, herbalism, trees, you know, the connection. I was speaking with some friends yesterday, and they were talking about, you know, connecting to the earth is vital for happiness, right? And a lot of times we get caught up in that, especially if we live in big cities. So it's really important to appreciate our green space, know where it is, and be able to go and honor the earth. It doesn't take much, but even if you're going for a walk, and again, we've talked about gratitude on the show a few times. When you're walking and you're doing this in the winter, like especially tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow you'll be able to burn your sheet, you know, to be able to, as you're walking on the earth, thank it for supporting you. Thank it for, you know, thank Mother Earth for providing the trees that filter our air, that allow us to breathe, that, you know, and to just be aware, even if it's for a moment a day, just to be aware that all of this stuff, there's never nothing going on, right? So So that's the main thing. So I guess a little thing about the other part is about reflection. I think that's the other part that I just wanted to focus on, that this, and we're also coming up to, you know, this is a holiday season. There's lots of stuff going on. It's a little weird, but more importantly, it's more important to take this time, this slowing down, because everybody, you know, work, there's less work. Everybody gets you know, a number of days off. So bond with your family, take time to actually appreciate that downtime, right? And that's, again, the regenerative part, the regeneration that comes with the hibernation of winter, right? That comes with that, sorry, yes. Right?
I have a question.
Yes.
My question is, what if you can't be with your family? Or what if you have challenges with your family that don't allow you to have a peaceful or bonding space with them? Then how do you heal that wound that's there?
So, and that's powerful, and that's amazing. So there is, I mean, that's the one thing about this season. You have people that have all different kinds of, I know there was times like 5 years I wasn't able to go and be with my family. And I really felt like I connected with other people. But more importantly, the thing is, when it comes to prayer, what prayer is, and I'm going to reflect on Ho'oponopono. When we pray for ourselves to be more loving, then by us focusing on what we can control and what we can do, which is, you know, the Ho'oponopono, which is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. Having that, when it comes to thinking of those people that you may not be able to be in the same room with, or maybe there's people that are, you know, everything that's going on now, you can't get into nursing homes or old age homes. So a lot of that would be, you know, I would say even do meditations where you see that family member and you can connect with them that way, right? Because we're spiritually, we can all connect. And then more importantly, the people that you maybe don't get along with, send them love too, right? And because, you know, there's three sides to every story. There's what we see, what they see, and what's actually going on. And a lot of times it's a reflection of us, but there's also a fine line between keeping our own, keeping compassion for ourselves. So I would recommend like a Ho'oponopono, or again, when you're out in Mother Earth, you're out in the forest, if you have any trees around you, if you just sit with your back against the tree and ask for the support of Mother Earth, ask for the support of that tree, ask for, you know, a kindness of self. Because I know in my personal experience, the most profound awakenings that I've had that allowed me to see people that I didn't get along with in a different light was when I was in the middle of it's usually really cold and nobody else is out there. And then you just have this huge aha moment because you're actually allowing yourself to just be and let Mother Earth support you. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, basically, you're suggesting that we connect with Mother Earth or other people, or with those people we can't be with in a different way, in a spiritual way, and that's all possible. And it's just really making that connection and really being drawn into it, so that it's meaningful.
And you know, the other thing is, like, the one thing that I like about Ho'oponopono is that we are we could be dealing with ancestral stuff. This is why this stuff is also really important. That, 100 years ago, our ancestors didn't know any better. When we know better, we do better. There's still people today that are living with those ancestral choices. But the first thing we have to do is we have to get and people talk about, this attitude of gratitude and a gratitude journal and all this stuff. But we have to get to the point where we realize that at some point we were created, right? And us as women, our eggs, the eggs that created us started 100 years ago in our grandmother's grandmother's grandmother, right? And so when you actually look at that, and the fact that, but also mental health issues also come from all that. The way we raise each other, the way we respect each other, the way we don't respect each other, the way, so many things come to us before we get here. So the whole ability to just be able to really be here and removing the blocks to love. And that's between you and you, right? Because if there is a place where you're like, oh yeah, but if you have any yeah buts, you got to be able to say, I'm sorry that I still see things in this light. Please forgive me in my, that I'm still experiencing the pain now. Now, this doesn't make it easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. But it's being able to, when we say, I love you, what does that mean? Like, does that actually mean I love you? Well, it has to start with you. And if there's anything where you're, and this is why even, the assault on the earth is like this earth, the whole thing is like when the sun comes up, like the whole comparison thing, the sun comes up, the moon comes up, they don't compare themselves to each other. They just say, hey, man. And they just are. And it's, and to really actually get into this is why I love Druidry, is that nobody's telling you what to do. The biggest choice that you make is to be, and be in the elements, and be in everything that's around us that makes us who we are, and to really love that, and even, even when people, it's, oh, the water, the way we treat the water, the way pollution and people that don't see, we have to love them because you don't have to do anything, but it's like, it's the loving of people that allows them to soften, because exactly what we've done here, where we create a safe space. If people don't feel safe and they don't know any different, they're not going to be able to do any different. So the hardest part is being able to connect with people in a way. And that's the big difference with these other people. If they're not open to connecting and they come harshly at you, you have to be able to just look and go, okay, I love you anyway. Not out loud, just to yourself, right? Just, okay. And, and sometimes love means removing yourself from the situation, and that sucks too. But, I think the one thing that we've learned this year is there's many different ways to connect with each other. There's different ways that we can look at it. So that would be
Yeah,
my.
I think also just around connecting with self, because you kind of touched on it before, is that you can't truly connect with anyone else if you're not connected with yourself. And so removing yourself from a situation could be an act of self-care that actually provides caring to other people as well, right? Because being in that situation isn't good for you. You're not your best. You're not at your best in that situation. You're not contributing anything of value.
No.
You're not able to connect authentically and lovingly. So sometimes the best thing to do is to just disengage from that situation. So that's also very true. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So now that we have our list, of what we want to release, and then the second, which is the one that we're going to try and burn out in nature, right?
So the first one, which is what you want to release, you want to burn that one, because
Right.
fire is the creativity, right? So fire, it destroys, but then that ash goes into the earth. And that's why it'd be nice if you could burn it out on safely. That's the whole thing. And in a fire pit or somewhere like that, right? So
And if you're not able to do that, then where can you
burn it,
like,
you can burn it anywhere, but it's like, what I would like to say is make sure that you have a fireproof object, which I don't know what happened to mine. Somehow I threw it out somewhere, or maybe it's, I don't know what I did with it, but I actually had a bowl that was a ceramic bowl, because the other thing is it has to be able to take heat. It's not like you're, you know, lighting a fire for 14 hours, but you want to make sure that it's in a place that the wind's not going to come and take it away. You know, you need to be practicing fire safety. And but you'll burn, and whether or not you want to keep what you write for the seeds of next year, I like to burn that as well, because then you put all of that together, and then you would get things that are symbolic of seeds, like chickpeas, kidney beans. You might have some of them in your cupboard, and you would take a couple of those, and then you'll put that again, you'll put that out in nature somewhere. So like, I mean, I have a little I go down here to the Humber River, and I would take that and drop that on the edge of the water there. So if you can find a green space,
now if you don't have access,
then you can just burn it and put the ashes on the grass somewhere, right? So
okay.
or yeah.
What about your green bin?
So the green bin is it would be better if there was even a plot of land, like everybody's got like a little plot of land they can get to, right? Because the thing is that recycling and green bin, that's great, that's organic, but that's actually not like just connecting with the earth, right? So you want to be able to put it on the earth. Now the chickpeas, they're not going to grow, but you can just put a couple there, and again, it's intention. So what you do is that when you're doing that, you take that intention and you actually say, thank you for serving me. I release you now. Seeds of tomorrow. I look forward to what we can create together. And make an intention, and then you're just going to leave them go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you. That was awesome.
No, thank you. So what would happen is that we would do the directions in the other to uncast the circle. We would go and we would do the directions backwards. So we would go from the north. So we can just do it sitting, because at this point, so when we say to the north, so we're going to say thank you to the north and the element of earth for providing us with stability and patience, and thank you for being with us today. And then we're going to go to our west, and we're going to say thank you to the elements, to the west and the element of water, for allowing us to have this connection and to allow us to be compassionately loving toward ourselves. And thank you for our intuition and being able to connect with each other. Then we're going to go to the south and the element of fire, and thank you for helping us burn off anything that we no longer need, and provide us the creativity for what we're going to create tomorrow. And then we're going to go finally to the east and the element of air. And thank you for our continued wisdom and our ability to use our mental faculties to help create and guide ourselves and others. Thank you for being with us. And this circle is uncast.
Awesome.
Okay, so thank you this was like my own little, thank you very much for.
Thank you. Oh, it was lovely.
And blessings. Yeah. So it's actually, the solstice is actually tomorrow. So if you can burn your stuff tomorrow under the Jupiter, and they're calling it the Bethlehem star too, because this hasn't been around in 2,000 years.
Wow.
something, or a few thousand at least. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but
Yeah, where do we see the Bethlehem star?
it's the planets are actually aligned. So I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly because I didn't, I don't know. But you could go on the internet and find. I think it's
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I will.
It's tomorrow. I'm not even sure. I apologize.
Oh, it's all good. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you,
Thank
Aisha, for this
you.
whole year and meeting you. And just, I'm
Aw.
so grateful for your friendship and your guidance and our lovely connection and what we've been able to build here. And
Me too. Me
I love
too.
it.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your openness, your open-heartedness, your light work, your grounding, your connection, your love, your friendship. I'm grateful for everything. Thank you. And thank you everybody for
Thank
being
you.
with us and supporting us and giving us your love. Lots of love to all of you as well.
Thank you. And we'll see you probably next year, right? Or are we going to do another one before New Year's? Not next
I
year.
think I'd like to maybe take a break,
Yeah.
if that's okay. I think we should just kind of wind it
Exactly.
down and maybe start up.
Especially
Yeah,
for the
next
next
year.
couple of weeks. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.